So here, brief chosen. Yes, I just tried to create a scoring board. Okay, so the briefs that we had were is developing. Are there two main characters in it? Would you say, Sophia and Leah? Probably. It's about their relationship in relation to Marco, isn't it? Who are the two, or would you say it's Sophia and Marco? And
I think it's Sophia and Marco. Even though Leah's the reason why them two meet each other.
yeah, so I would talk about the relationship. So I would say a screenplay, because if the brief is this, let's just go back here. Look at my struggling. This flickering is not good. The brief is that it's the development of a single character, or it's a conflict between two other characters. So if we're going to absolutely tick the boxes of what they're saying, then rather than saying it's based around three characters, you should say it's based around two characters. And then you could say, so you see there, a narrative. I decided to create a narrative which portrays a conflict between two central characters. I've also included another character, Leah, who introduces the two protagonists to each other. Just something like that. Yeah, because then we're ticking the box, if you like. Okay, and here, so that would be your that would cover the brief. I'm doing two characters. A short synopsis of the film could be something like, how could you do it in a sentence? Well, what did you want? What was the story you wanted to tell?
The struggles of a teenage girl, because she met Marco, and she gets pregnant. So yeah, the struggles of a teenage girl when she gets pregnant.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say that. Yeah. So the short synopsis. Blah blah blah. The story of a teenage girl who gets pregnant, and the secrecy and problems that surround this. That's fine, because that's almost your aims as well, isn't it? You want to explore that. Good. And then you're done with your introduction, and that's only going to be about a little bit longer than this.
Mm-hmm.
The next section has got to be this one. Okay.
So I'm getting rid of all of that.
No, you can use that later.
Okay.
Okay. Because that's where you're going to analyze. How are you doing for words? Yeah, you see your. Yeah, you're going to move this to the last section. Okay. This is the next section. This is the narrative structure of the short film. And here what you're doing is you're talking about how a film like Connect influenced your film. How, and you've done that here, and you've done that here. Okay? Now, the only thing you need to do that's different is that you need to make sure that you've got this kind of layout. Lynch, US 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Actually, why should you? Because you've said Wasp is a 2003 short film directed by Andrea Arnold. I think that's okay. Because look, they've given us an example. They've given us an example here. The themes of Andrea Arnold's Wasp. That's no different from what you've done, is it? A is lowercase in About a Girl. All right. So as long as you've done, let me see, Connect. All right. Don't change those. That's fine. So what you do need to do then is, because we've only got Connect, About a Girl, and Wasp, you are going to have to put 2 more of the longer films in there. You're going to have to mention them. So, so for example, it would be, we've got to add it up to, oh, don't start doing that. It's got to add up to 80 minutes. So we're going to need to mention a couple of these longer films.
I don't know which one relates. I don't know any other that related to my.
No. Well, we watched A Girl's Own Story. I don't know if you remember that one, but it's about the kind of unpleasant dad. Do you remember that one?
No.
And it's about secrets in the family, and it's about people not treating each other well. And
Oh,
do you remember this one?
yeah.
So you could talk about how it's the family, the friendship. Maybe have a look at that. Look at it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yes, I really want to just be like 2 boys kissing and not a girl and a boy. And why can't you English?
Yeah. So talk about that, and then that will give you another 30 minutes, and then you could. The other one that you could use is La Jetée, which you could just say, we watched La Jetée, but I decided not to use that one. I didn't like. Where are the short films? That's this one here. So that's 28 minutes, and that will get you over the time, 50 minutes, because that it involved still photographs, and La Jetée is like a quite. Hold on, stay with me. This whole computer's going down. So La Jetée works like this. It's just voiceover and still frames.
I don't think I watched this one.
We didn't watch this.
Oh, really?
Oh, did we?
No, I don't remember.
I don't know if we did. I think some people watched it outside the lesson. So what you could say is, I looked at this, but I didn't like the idea of using still photographs in black and white. So you can say a positive thing about Girl's Own Story, and say, this is what I liked about this one. I like the structure, or I like the story which is centered around the experiences of 2 girls, which is why I included Leah in my screenplay.
Yeah.
And I also watched La Jetée, but I didn't think that I wanted to follow the structure that involved using voiceover. I didn't want to have a voiceover, and I didn't want to have still photographs. Okay. Okay, so let's go back here. So that will be your second section, where you're talking about these films, and you must add up to 90 minutes, and that's absolutely fine. Now, so you've got introduction, you've got that section on the short film and how it inspired you. Now, this is the bit that I think we haven't got. And this is what we were talking about this morning. Were you there when we were talking about screenplays?
Yeah.
So you have got to say, you've got to have a section which has got to be around 600 words, and this is the work that you're going to have to do, where you're talking about the influences of other films, not the short films, but films that you know that have influenced your project. So if we look at your storyboard on my very slow computer, can you think of any films that would? Marcus, there's really no point in you coming if you're just going to waste your time. Marcus. Films where girls get pregnant. Films with boyfriends.
No, I can't remember the names, but I can think of some.
Okay. So what you need to do?
Can it be TV shows like on Netflix?
I think they want film.
Yeah, okay.
And that bit that you had at the beginning, your analysis of your story, that you are going to adapt and say, blah, 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 I wanted this to happen in the story. The part of this idea came from this film.
Okay.
And in the screenplay for this film, it says, blah, blah, that is why I wrote. So you're going to have to do a little bit more research on whatever those films are. I'm just trying to think. I don't know why my computer is working so slowly. Mean Girls. Juno. Do you know Juno? Juno would be a good reference because it's an indie, low-budget film about a young girl who gets pregnant, and the boy who she gets pregnant by really wants to do the right thing by her, but she doesn't want to. Let's watch the trailer for Juno because that might be a good one. Marco. Batman. Is that how it ends?
Yeah.
Brutal.
Basically, there's a monologue, but I didn't know. Like she just saying a monologue at the end, but
Is that in voiceover?
Yeah.
Is it in the screenplay? I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right.
Or should I add like a black screen?
Yeah. Well, you just put another frame in there, possibly. All right. Let's not. Let me just show you the trailer for Juno and see if we can find a screen.
I'm pregnant. What? On the spot? I've taken like 3 pregnancy tests and I am for shiz up the spout. How did you even generate enough pee for 3 pregnancy tests? I'm telling you I'm pregnant and you're acting shockingly cavalier. Is this for real? Yes. Forget Tyrant.
That ain't no Etch-a-Sketch. This is one doodle that can't be undid, Holmes Gillett.
I think it's best to just tell him I'm pregnant.
Who's the father?
Polly Bleecker?
I didn't think you had it in it.
I know, right? Wow, your shorts are like especially gold today.
My mom uses color safe bleach.
Go Carol. You should look at
It's a
adoption
funny
ads.
film.
They have ads for parents. Yeah. Hi, I'm Vanessa. You must be Juno.
Hi, I'm the husband. With a couple of baby star wingnuts.
Dude, that thing is freaky looking. I'm a sacred vessel. All you've got in your stomach is Taco Bell. I think you're really gonna do this? Yeah, but I'm guessing it looks probably like a sea monkey right now. We should let it get a little cuter, right? Great.
Keep it in the oven.
When this is all over, we should get back together.
He's still gonna think I'm cute when I'm huge.
You're beautiful. Did you by any chance barf in my urn?
I would never barf in your urn.
Did you see that Philip when she sentenced down here?
Yeah, but I was hoping she was expelled or into hard drugs.
You're like the coolest person I've ever met, and you don't even have to try.
Okay,
I try really hard, actually.
so you get the idea.
Yeah.
Let's just have a look. Okay, so look here. This scene here, Juno holds the developing test in her hand and slaps the open test box on the front counter. We see the test box sitting on the sink. Okay. You could steal a bit of this. You saw the search that I just did, and say, the film Juno, which is also about teenage pregnancy, gave me the idea for including the test scene. I mean, I bet there are lots of other films where that happens, and you could say, in my yeah. You could compare it with something in there. Isn't there a bit where you're actually doing the test, where she's doing the test? Maybe you have to watch Juno. That's the monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely put something at the frame there.
I forgot to add that bit.
Yeah.
But what she's doing by herself, so how would that help?
Well, you could have her talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Just have a shot. Choose one of the shots you've got there but have her looking right into the camera. Or doing something with a voiceover. It could be like I don't know if you've got any of the shot. Is it Jada? Who's the
Jada.
If it's Jada, and you've got some shots of her just doing something else, like, so we hear what she's thinking while she goes shopping, while she goes for a walk, while she does whatever it might be. Okay, so let's just get rid of all this. So this section, cinematic influences, you're going to need to bring in Juno and maybe something else and talk about screenplay and analyze, explain how you got some ideas from established films, not from the short films. Yeah. And then the last one, you've done that. That's all done. Okay, because that's in your that's already here. The two shots, the strongest part. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the one thing that we need to do, which we talked about, is that you need to link your aim at the beginning. I wanted to do this or explore teenage pregnancy, whatever it might be. You need to refer to it at the end. And rather than just saying the audience should end up liking, you should say, I think I achieved, or rather just, I think my aim was achieved, particularly at the beginning and the end, because it shows that, whatever it might be. But just reference aim, talk about my aims, because then they can't trip you up on it. Because they could say, oh, well, she didn't use the word aims here. All right?